Oklahoma hills where I was born, way down yonder in the Indian Nation.
Hello, welcome today to Oklahoma Moments. Today we have someone with us whom most of you people will know. It's GeorgeAnn Allen, and of course GeorgeAnn Steele's daughter, GeorgeAnn Steele, who grew up here in Wilson. Welcome, GeorgeAnn, to Oklahoma Moments.
Thank you very much.
I told someone, well, I told Bane Bigby today at Bane Bigby Jr. today at Rotary how I said, oh, I've got to hurry. I'm having someone you know, GeorgeAnn Allen, on my show, and I said we're going to tie in the Steeles and the Roberts and the Allens. He said, that's almost impossible. I'd like to see that. I said, all in 30 minutes.
He never believed it.
No,
never believe it.
But GeorgeAnn, this is your life. And I want to share with you, I want you to share with our viewers your life. I want you to bring in about your mom and dad, and if you remember your grandparents, their names. But this is like genealogy involved, and then tell about how you met your husband, and then about his family, because the Allens have been in Ringland forever and always. And then tell who your mother was, and just start telling.
Just go.
Yes.
Well, my daddy was George Steele, of course, and my mother was Anna Roberts Steele. And they lived in Ardmore. Excuse me. They lived in Wilson.
They did. Oh, and you brought their marriage license.
Yes.
Let's show the. I think you brought the marriage license. Let's show their marriage license. It was when October the 22nd.
October the 22nd, they got married in
Oh,
Medill.
there they are.
Okay.
Yes, there it is.
In Medill, Oklahoma, and a black Episcopal priest married them on the steps of the courthouse.
Oh, really?
In Medill, and they had their 50th wedding anniversary. It was 1977.
Oh, well, that is great. And you got the marriage license after
they were at my sister June's house. We all shared in the things wonderful. When we lost our mother and our dad, and we had a system about it. We couldn't figure there were some things in that place in the house that all of us would love to have had, and there are 7 of us children.
You brought a family group. Let's let everyone see. There's 7 of you children. All of you are still living too.
Yes.
Oh,
no.
There. Let me see.
We lost our brother Paul.
I forgot about Paul David. Yes, Paul. I never did just say Paul. It was always Paul David.
It's Paul David,
yes.
and out of the 7 of us, we lost him.
Yes.
But we
he was precious.
Yeah, everybody loved Paul David.
Okay, now start on the left end.
Okay, that's my brother Charlie, and then my sister Nell, and that's Paul David, and that's me in the green dress in front. And this is my brother Red.
And that's your mom.
And then Mom. And then my daddy George, and then that's Junie, my sister June, and Danny in the back.
Yes.
And that was the day that Danny and Dixie got married.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
So
that
a little bit of water's run on the bridge
since then. A long time, but that was a wonderful picture we loved,
Yeah.
And after a while, after we lost our dad, Mother enjoyed her life for a while.
Yes, she did.
She really did enjoy
and
everything.
didn't she go on after, she was such a beautiful lady, but after she had cancer and had to have some of the facial bones removed, didn't she go on? She did not let that stop her in any way.
She was a very gracious lady, and she loved to get involved in things. She was a worthy matron in the Eastern Star.
Yes, I remember that.
And even after the children all left, she was Rainbow Mother for I don't know how many years.
Nell was just so active in the Rainbow.
And even so, later, Mother had a friend, Reg Eby. Do you remember him?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Reg would take Mom out to eat, and they would go to the movies. And
yes, because Mrs. Eby had died.
Mrs. Eby. He
was a
Mrs.
fine
Eby.
gentleman.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
a fine
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yes.
Mother, at that time, enjoyed going places with Reg, and he'd take her to the nicest places, and she'd make a pie, and Reg would come for coffee.
Oh,
and then at Christmas time, he always brought her beautiful gifts, and that was the kind of lady we're talking about. Mom lived for us kids,
yes,
and for the community, and was very active. And this operation she had a malignancy, and they removed all these facial. It left her with these facial paralysis.
And left her mouth.
Yes, her mouth drawn.
Yes, but she did not let that stop her in any way. Don't you admire, as you look back now, GeorgeAnn, don't you admire her for doing that? Could we do that?
No. I don't think so.
I'd be going around like this, but she never did.
She never backed up a minute, and from the time that we knew that this was going to happen, Mother just told the doctor, she said, I need to have this done as fast as I can. I've got a family to raise at home.
That sounds like her.
That is exactly, just exactly what Mom said. And of course, our little brother.
Well, and she was always in the store, in and out and around,
was.
and always greeting, always so sweet.
Yeah. She went to Alma Corona's beauty shop and got her hair done, and she just was a lady.
Well, tell about how your mom and dad married.
Well, they met in school in Wilson, and Mother was one of the fortunate girls. Mother's daddy was quite wealthy. Squire Roberts was her daddy, and she had 4 brothers.
Was that from R?
He was from R, but they also had a home in Wilson where Mother went, lived and went to school. And then she went on to Durant to college. Mother,
very unusual for during those days.
And believe this, Mother had a car. Mom had a car.
Very unusual for a woman in the 20s.
Yes. But she was the youngest of Squire Roberts' children, and her mother was a lovely lady. I never knew our grandmother Roberts. She died before Mother ever married. And then I was 6 weeks old when Grandpa Roberts died. And but anyway, he left each of those children a farm, a place.
That's great. Wow.
And it was at a time when things were really hard, because Mother and Daddy married in 27.
And then you came along.
Yes, I come along.
And then the Great Depression.
Yes, it all was. But anyway, Mother had those 4 brothers, Uncle Press and Uncle Flay, Uncle Ashley and Uncle Kimmy. And then Mother, and then we had her older sister, Fanny Hodges, which, they lived in Ardmore all the time. So then Mom met Daddy and Dad, and they married. And of course, they were wonderful.
Well, they went to the courthouse in Ardmore.
Yeah.
But they couldn't, they had to go on to where?
Yes. They went to the courthouse to get married, and they couldn't get married there because it was closed. So they went on to Medill and married on the steps of the courthouse. There was a black minister, black preacher of the Episcopal Church, and that married them. And of course,
someone said they just went down on the street or something and found him.
Yes, he was there, so they got him to marry him. And now then, Archie and I, we go to the Episcopal Church. We love the church.
Do you?
And yes, and the rest of our family, well, they're all Church of Christ except Danny. Danny and Dixie, they worship at the Baptist Church in Ardmore. So, but we've had a great life. Mother and Daddy, when we were kids at home growing up, Mom would love to smooth the furniture anywhere we wanted to around this old room. It didn't matter where we put it.
And you always had kids there. Who were some of your school friends?
Well, Margene Taylor was one of my dearest friends. And then there was Lucy Burrell, and then Mildred Roberts. Her name was Lyles. And I always had a big, big time. And
I know Marvin and, Nell married Marvin, and Red married Roxanne Cannon, and let me see, Paul David married Frances Garrison, and let me see,
let's see,
you married Archie Allen, and June married Sammy Stearns, and Danny married the Patrick, Dixie Patrick. Is that all? No.
Did we miss somebody? We're in trouble
Clark,
if we did.
Marianne Clark.
Charlie.
Charlie.
And Marianne.
Yes, Charlie and Marianne. I think that got all of them.
Yes.
See, I know all of your family.
Yeah, you do. Thank you. Well, anyway, when Archie and I met, we lived in R because Mother's dad had died 6 weeks after I was born, and he had left Mother the home place, the Roberts place down there. So they moved to R. So I was really raised in R, and then when Archie and I met and we married.
Who's Archie descended out of?
Well, Floyd Allen was his daddy.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. And his dad was commissioner at that time in Ringling, and then his mother was Frances Allen, but she died the year Archie and I married. He had a lovely mother, but children didn't get to enjoy. She
Well, now, is Don Allen the
early.
sheriff?
Yeah, now he's a cousin.
Is he a cousin?
Uncle Bill, his daddy, and Archie's dad were brothers.
Okay, was there an Allen Ford place, or I was thinking there was a, what businesses were the Allens in Ringland?
Well, Archie and I were the ones that have been in business, I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's your
Okay,
business.
it is. We had a clothing store
Yes.
on Main Street. We bought out Percy's Ambus that was there. And then later on, we went up and bought a station. We sold that place. And Archie bought a station, and we run that for about 5 years. And later, we bought a place on the highway. And for about 20 years, we were in the convenience store business on the highway.
Really?
So we all... just worked, and that's we still do.
Well, and when did you and Archie marry?
We married in 45.
45, during the war. Now, did he serve in the military?
No, Archie didn't go to the service. He didn't pass the physical, so he stayed home, and then we married on March 24th in 45, and then our son, Archie H., was born.
And y'all call him, what's his nickname?
Pug. His nickname is Pug Allen. That's what the teachers all called him, and and everybody calls him Pug. But he was born June 11th, 1947, and then 4 years later we had Vicki Ann.
So you just have the two
We have the
children.
two
And you
children.
have, what, 2 grandchildren?
We have our son, Pug, has 2 sons, Shane and Dustin. Shane works for the Dallas Morning News in Dallas, and then Dusty is still in college. He's going to school at OSU, and he has a dear friend, Sonny Austin. I don't know if you know Jessica and Ronnie Austin from Ringling. This is their daughter. And they date, and she's adorable. Then we have, Vicki has 1 daughter. She has Amber. And
So you have 3 grandchildren?
yes, and then Amber lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and she also has a little boy, 4.
Oh, well, you mentioned, also, let's go back, before I go on to your summers together as a family. Your mom and dad celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, and you brought a napkin from the reception. So we have a picture of them that was made at their 50th wedding anniversary, and then we have a napkin from that reception, and let's share because your mother and dad were lovely people. They were beautiful people, inside and out, and there they are. Looks just like George and Ann, yes. And and the napkin there.
They had the best time that day, and the sad thing was that was in October 22nd, and then of 77, and then February 5th, we lost our daddy right after that. So we had this big celebration for them that we just wouldn't take anything for in the whole world. And
aren't those pictures precious?
Yes.
And then you mentioned all of the family worshipped in the Church of Christ, and so you have a large picture of where all your family's mingled in the church family. Let's show that.
That's a fun picture.
That was here in Wilson, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I'm sure Steeles are all through there.
Oh, yeah, they are. And there's Francis is holding David Christopher there, and there's just a bunch of them throughout it.
And Elsie Loving is there on the right.
Yes, all the Loving family, Mr. and Ms. Loving.
Yes.
And in the back there's David and, Charlie and Aunt Audie Dozier. I'll tell you, Faye Bigby.
Yes.
Baines' wife, Faye,
Yes.
gave me this.
Fayette
She gave me this picture.
Oh, how
Yes,
precious.
and because so many of us were in there, we're not. But
And a lot of the little kids there are now probably grandparents.
All of them are. Yes, they're all grown.
Okay, now then, after this, we're going to go on, and you told me, oh, I saw the picture album of how so many of your family events each summer, your brothers and sisters get together, and you went to Branson.
Yes.
And we will, I'll tell you what, we will put one, first of all, though, let's show where your daughter and your husband is together on his 83rd birthday.
Okay.
Let's show that. I forgot how we had these pictures, but I believe that's next, how I have them lined up.
Okay.
For your daughter and your husband. Now, when did he celebrate?
Oh, yeah. Last September 23rd.
And he's 83.
83.
He doesn't look it.
No,
That's a great picture of
he's
him
so
and your
lucky.
daughter, Vicki.
Yes, that's Vicki, and I was disappointed. That night, Pug was calving heifers or something. He couldn't get to come to the birthday celebration.
I noticed you don't have many pictures of
I
Pug.
know, he works, he's just in Ringling, and he wasn't there that night, but I'll have some more of him, but it was a fun thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
And, okay, now then, let's go to your get-together in Branson, and then where, I forget how we have these, but you can tell about them as they come up there. And, oh, that's your pie eating contest. You're back there in one of those white jackets.
I am.
That must be Nell taking a picture.
I don't know. That's somebody back there. But anyway, what they had in Branson was a in-your-face pie eating contest. And the Mrs. Stillwell's pies, they put this on, and they come out to the audience, and they pick out people to be in there. And, of course, I was in there. And it was the most fun thing. And of course, I knew I couldn't win. There was a huge guy on the very end that could devour 3 pies, I know. So, but when we got through, it was all over our face. And every year we go someplace most of the years together.
Oh, that is great. And then you have some more that we just have to share. One is, I believe, well, everybody, all of his family calls him Buttles.
Yeah.
But Marvin Sullivan, where he got up there.
Yeah, there he is. There's Marvin.
And that little woman that was in Branson, she was playing, was she playing the fiddle?
She's playing the fiddle, and the cutest thing.
And so Marvin just got up there.
Yes, and somebody was playing the guitar, and he just got up there and took his place while she did the fiddling. And they made fiddles. They made them and sold them. And she was adorable.
And so Marvin, now don't you know she got a bang out of Marvin just getting up there and sitting.
And then out front there, you can't see right now, but out front, Nell and Junie and Red and all of us, we're all dancing out there to the music, and we just have the best times together.
Well, I think that is great, and then you have one, I think, where one of them has a bonnet on, but all of you are together.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
There he is.
That's Archer on the end and myself next, and then June in her bonnet. We brought that cute blue flowered bonnet. That is the cutest. And then my brother Red. Look at Nell, bought her a hat. Yes, and I had an old cap on. And then that's Marvin and Sammy. I tell you what, our brother-in-laws have to be. Those brother-in-laws have to be
special.
Patient.
Are any of them wearing halos or wings?
Well, yeah, they do. They need to with all of us because, and they are so good to us. And we just always try to get off together in the summer and go someplace.
That is great.
Well, a couple of years ago, we went to Nashville, and everybody but Dixie and Danny got to go. But the deal is with them, they're just now raising their children.
Yes.
See, we're much older.
Yes.
And our children are grown and gone, and Danny's got them all in high school except Dana.
And they can't
take off and go, and it's hard to go without him. But,
I know it is.
We were
It's probably hard for him to think y'all are all off together.
Yes, yes. We can't hardly go off without him, but we just have to. We can't. We just have. So we were gone like 10 days. And
your daughter lives in Nashville?
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Amber lives in Nashville. She married Darrell Dodd. That's the baby's dad, and he sings and plays music.
Oh.
And so anyway, she has a lot of friends there, and she moved to Dallas, but she's just now moved back to Nashville.
Wow.
And so she loves it. And her little boy, he's 4. And his name is Keaton Allen Dodd. They named him after Papa and all of us. So that worked out. We were all really thrilled over that.
Well, is there anything special that we want to get? Oh, do you still have your grandmother's thimble?
Yes, I do.
Yes, that was, did your mother use that to quilt, and have you used that thimble any, George?
No, not really. That's my grandmother's Steele, Dora Steele, Daddy's mother. His name was Audie, and Mama Steele we called her, and she quilted all the time. And when we were children at just little children growing up, at Christmas time, Mama Steele would send us a great big box of stuff, and it would just be huge, and in it would always be a nice, pretty quilt for Mother, and then things for us children
that
she'd made.
Look, some of the grooves have worn off.
And see, it's all green on the inside.
Yes, and you know, they don't make them metal like this anymore.
It's
not like this. Look at that. You can't even smash that.
And she just quilted a many a stitch in that little thing.
Oh, so that's quite a heirloom.
Yeah, she was awful precious. I would go to Houston and stay this summer. I was the oldest of the children, so I would get to go to Houston, and they lived there, and stay with Mama and Papa Steele and work some in the summertime. I always wanted to work, and I still work. I wanted to buy me some pretty clothes, and I wanted, so I'd go down and stay
independent.
with them. Yes. I stayed down there with them and worked in the summertime. And they were such good grandparents.
Well, that's great. Well, if they lived in Houston, how did your dad get up here to...
Well, what happened, they were originally from Wilson here.
Oh, really?
Yes, and they built a house here, and my Papa Steele run a service station on the corner where the old, I don't know if you know, it's right at the school. It's just close to the school there. There was a little old yellow house always on the corner, and I was born there. And that was where Mom and Papa Steele lived when Mother and Daddy married. And I was born there, and then just a few weeks, 6 weeks, well, then Grandpa Roberts died, so they moved in.
Back to R.
We moved to R. But then later, Mom and Papa Steele moved to Houston, and Papa Steele got a real good job down there.
Oh, really?
So they stayed down in Houston all the time, and so that way we get to visit them, So.
Okay, I was noticing this. Is this passed down from your mother's, or is that just yours?
It's
It looks an heirloom.
Yeah, I have a friend in the village, and Val. Her name is Val, and I love older costume jewelry.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And
cameo.
she gave me this
onyx.
beautiful.
You can tell that is, yes.
And she's a lovely friend, and so she wanted me to have this.
Well, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
I
have most of my mother's pins. I wear a lot of scarves,
Yeah.
and I have most of hers, and I always notice them. That is beautiful.
Well, I do have some mothers. Mother had her rings that she passed to us girls. Mother had a pretty ring that her daddy had bought her, and that my daddy had bought. So Nell, she passed that one to Nell, and then this little ring on this little finger is my mother's class ring.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's from Wilson High School.
Oh,
it
my
has her little Vera Roberts initials in it.
Oh,
and,
how precious.
I think maybe she graduated maybe in 1922 or 23.
Oh, and at that time, the Wilson School was a three-story school.
Yes. And then June has the wedding band, the little gold wedding band then that we had given Mother and Daddy on their 50th wedding anniversary. We gave each of them one. And so it's really fun to have these wonderful things.
It is. It just brings them close to you. That's like my cross is made out of the first wedding band I gave Carl and my mother's wedding band, and then a band that had worn out on mine, and it was melted into this, and I wear it nearly every day.
The time. It's wonderful to have those things.
It is. It's not, of course, I like the cross, but it's not that. It's just that there's part of them seems like they're close to my heart.
I know it is. I'll tell you, we were talking about Mother and Daddy, and Daddy was so tall and gray-haired and handsome.
Oh, he was, and your mother was so lovely.
I
know it. Every funeral they were. Yes, he was in that choir, wasn't he? At the church
it was always a a pleasure to get to go in the church, to sit.
To hear
Everybody
his
wanted
voice.
to sit by Daddy so
To
they could
hear his
hear him
voice.
sing.
Yes.
And he was fun, and he just enjoyed life. We all loved the
He played
music.
jokes on a lot of the
Yeah,
customers. He was
yeah.
always had a smile, always friendly.
We all love to have fun and sing and dance, and music's just a part of our life.
It is. It is. And the Sullivan family just blended in with it, didn't
Yes,
they?
they did.
You know, I guess I don't think I've ever seen a Steele that didn't when they didn't have a smile on their face.
Thank
Isn't that
you.
isn't that a
Well,
compliment?
That's a great compliment. Thank you for that.
Really, and just looking back, my mother thought there was no one like Paul David because he delivered the
yeah.
groceries and she loved him. Of course, he was a good friend of my brother's.
Oh,
And then and I went to school with him, and Nell, I can just see Nell and Marvin back in school, you know,
Yeah.
and everything. But it's just so wonderful for you to share your life with everyone here. And by the time you and Archie got married, well, the gas rationing was over, so y'all had the car, and you didn't have to be rationed.
I'll tell you what, we had when we married. He had a '42 Ford, the prettiest blue '42 Ford you ever saw. Of course, I thought he was handsome. I was so in love with him. And so anyway,
and y'all have been married 52 years.
well, 52 years. Next month will be 53 years, the 24th of March, since I was 16. But anyway, he had this '42 Ford, and at that time he didn't have money to buy my rings. So we were married about 3 months, and he sold his car, and then I got my wedding ring and all then. So I was just thrilled, and we had an old, I think it was like a 37 pickup, you know, that he hauled his horse in and everything.
And back then, the pickup had sideboards. You put the cows and the horses in the pickup.
Oh,
You didn't
yeah.
have the trailers.
No. But then, and 2 years later, well, we had our son, and the pug was born in '47, and then 4 years later we had Vicki Ann. But we raised them over there together, and they just have always been our lives.
Ringland has been home
It's always been
until
home.
you went to Ardmore
Yeah.
just a few years
Well-
ago. But you still are in Ringland just about
Yes,
every day, aren't
yes.
you?
Well, I don't go now. I tell you, I work.
Oh, you run the Ardmore Village.
Yeah, we manage the assisted living apartments at the Ardmore Village, and we live there with 19 other little women. Well, no,
Archie,
I'll take that
no
back.
wonders Archie leaves and goes to Ringland every
no,
day.
I'll take that back because we have another gentleman besides Archie. We have.
I bet Archie's proud of you.
Oh, he loves it. Oh, he loves all of them. Like I
Is
do.
Archie the honeydew man?
Oh,
rather?
yes. But he leaves almost every morning. He gets out of a lot of that.
Can you blame him?
No. But anyway, I love my work. We've been there. Well, we moved to Ardmore when Mom was in the nursing home.
Oh,
With
really? Have
Mother.
y'all been there that long?
Yes. Mother, the last 6 months of Mom's life, she couldn't walk. And so she had to needed more care.
So
She went in the nursing home in Ardmore, and we were living out on the ranch in Ringling, 15 miles south.
So that was a big decision
That was
for
a
you
long
to.
way.
Yes,
And
yes.
so what we did, we moved to Ardmore, and we moved out at the village. And we met Charles and Betty Brown. He's the director.
Yes.
Okay, that was his life dream. This building and all is his dream. And there are 92 cottages, 20 assisted living apartments, and 6 townhouses. And so we're surrounded by a bunch of lovely people.
Yes.
Well, he asked if we might be interested in working for the village. And
it's been a new lifestyle
Yes.
for you, a new way,
A new way.
but Archie still runs off to the
he
ranch.
goes every day. And I can't blame him. But I'm doing what I like to do
Yes,
too. And
yes, because you love people
yeah,
also.
I do.
Yes.
And I love the little older people. And I wouldn't want to teach school. I wouldn't want to teach
No.
kindergarten or anything like that. But I love my
I
little
can
older
relate to
people.
that.
I just they're just part of my life. And they can live at the village, the balance of their life in dignity and with pride.
That's right.
They have to be. They are so special, Corina.
Yes, and you have all the facilities there, the center, the community center, and you
Yes.
plan the programs and have the
Yes.
speakers and all. It's great. I am so proud for you.
Oh.
And it keeps you active, and you find the more active and alert you keep your mind, the more the better you feel,
Yes, it's
just
true.
everything. The
It
healthier
is.
you are.
I just don't know what I'd do if I didn't work.
Oh, I know.
I just have always worked, and
I know.
even when I was just a little girl getting to grow up, I got to go to school here in Ardmore, in Wilson, a little while, and I can remember Charlie Weeks
Cafe.
and I stayed.
Tom Todd's chili burger.
Oh yes, but do you remember the Merritts at
Oh,
the
yes,
drugstore?
Merritt's drugstore.
Okay, I stayed. Billy Joe was her name, and she and I were the same age, and I got to come up and stay with them and go to school at Wilson for a little while.
Oh, that's
And I got a chili bun every day at Charlie Weeks, and
Was that at Southward?
Yes, and then...
I mean, you were at Southward.
No,
you were in
we were
high
at,
school? You were?
Well, I was,
In junior high?
yes, I was in junior
But it was
high.
all together.
It was all.
And so you got to
Yeah.
go to Charlie Wicks and got some
Yes.
of Tom Todd's chili
Well,
buns.
and you know what happens?
What?
I washed dishes for Charlie Weeks at dinner time
I guess we all did.
for my chili bun.
I guess we all did, because I could also remember your Aunt Audie Dozier called me
Yes.
Little Onion, because I'd have to chop the onions and
See
peel the
there?
onions,
Mhm.
and tears would just roll, and she
I
called me
know.
Little Onion for a long time.
Well, they had a little stool, a little box that he'd set up in those big old wash tubs.
Oh,
you know.
yes, man, you
And
have to.
You'd go down in there and you'd get whatever there was down in there for one of Charlie Weeks' chili buns.
So I guess we all did, but that
was
like to
fun.
work.
That was fun. We
But
all
didn't
liked to do that.
nearly everybody worked during those days?
Nobody knew any
No,
different.
we
None of
didn't
us
know
had
it.
anything,
and we
but
were
nobody
happy.
else did anyway, so
Yeah,
it didn't
we
matter.
thought we were rich. I didn't realize we were so poor until I got up older and found out how poor we were.
Didn't
Well,
know it.
GeorgeAnn, our time is out. We could go on and on. We just touched the surface of all of this, but I hope that all of our viewers enjoyed sharing a bit of the family history of GeorgeAnn's ancestors, of the Roberts family and the Steele, and then with the Allens. And GeorgeAnn, you and your husband Archie have been a great success here in southern Oklahoma, and a great blessing to Ringland, and I know you're a blessing to the people in Ardmore now at this
I
time.
appreciate that so much, Corinna. Thank you for asking me, and it was lovely to share my time with you.
Well, it was great. Thank you for joining us today, and remember,